Mike Tyson is a retired American boxer with a net worth of $10 million. At his all-time peak, Mike Tyson's net worth was $300 million. As we detail in the following sections, throughout his career, Mike earned hundreds of millions of dollars from purses and endorsements. He also spent extravagantly and was swindled out of substantial sums by former managers and promoters. Mike filed for bankruptcy in 2003, citing $23 million in debt. As recently as 2010, Mike faced severe financial issues. In a 2010 appearance on The View, Mike revealed, "I'm totally broke and bankrupt. But I have a great life. I have a great wife who cares about me. I'm completely broke. I've had a lot of fun. It just happened. I'm very grateful. I don't deserve the wife I have, gratitude." As we detail below, Mike has been able to recover financially thanks to lucrative appearance fees, film roles, exhibition fights, and investments in the cannabis industry. Mike Tyson was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world in the late 1980s. At his peak, Mike was one of the most famous and highest-paid athletes in the world. He was the youngest champion in history at the age of 20. ESPN called him the hardest hitter in heavyweight history, and Sky Sports dubbed him the most ferocious fighter to step into a professional ring. Tyson remains a relevant pop culture figure both in and out of the ring. Mike has appeared as himself in dozens of films and television shows over the years, perhaps most memorably in The Hangover and The Hangover 2. He also continues to participate in exhibition matches. On March 7, 2024, it was announced that Mike would fight Jake Paul in July 2024. The match will be streamed live on Netflix. Mike famously lived an extravagant lifestyle as money poured in. He spent millions on mansions, cars, jewelry, lavish gifts for strangers, and even a collection of Bengal tigers. His tigers cost $70,000 each and were kept in custom-designed habitats in his backyard. Mike hired an animal trainer at a cost of $125,000 a year. Mike also spent lavishly on his entourage. For example, he kept someone on payroll whose sole purpose was to dress in military fatigues and shout "guerrilla warfare" at press conferences. This person was paid $300,000 annually for his services. Mike was imprisoned from 1991 to 1995. In the 3 years immediately after his release, Mike spent the following amounts: $4.5 million on cars and motorcycles, 19 cars he bought for friends, $400,000 on pigeons and a variety of large cats such as Siberian tigers, $300,000 on lawn care and garden maintenance alone, $240,000 per month on the handling of the money he spent in his daily life, $230,000 on cell phones, pagers, and phone bills, $125,000 per year on animal trainers for his large cats, $100,000 per month on jewelry and clothes. He also bought several homes. His 21-room Connecticut mansion was later owned by 50 Cent. This estate featured a nightclub and a casino. Mike also bought homes in Las Vegas, Ohio, and Maryland. His Ohio mansion included gold-plated furniture, a pool, and a basketball court. His $4 million Las Vegas estate had an 11,000-square-foot mansion that he renovated from scratch. Mike owned more than 100 cars throughout his life, some of which were extremely valuable and rare. He owned a Bentley, one of only 73 ever made, and it cost him $500,000. After repairing a Range Rover in 1995, he told the repair shop to keep it. He often lent cars to friends and acquaintances and forgot about them. He bought 20 cars from a dealership in Las Vegas. That dealership, Jim Tyson Motors, saw Mike spend $1.5 million in just a few minutes one day, buying 5 Bentley Azures. The dealership had only 2 in stock and had to rush order the remaining 3 from Rolls-Royce. One of Tyson's most extravagant purchases was a $2 million gold bathtub for his first wife, actress Robin Givens. Legend has it that he would periodically buy strangers lavish gifts such as $100,000 watches. In 1987, Mike Tyson signed a $27 million deal with HBO to fight Alex Stewart. Tyson defeated Stewart in just 2 minutes and 27 seconds. He later signed a long-term $120 million deal with Showtime that included several fights, including Holyfield 1 and 2. Throughout his career, Mike earned at least $430 million from fights and endorsements, which is equivalent to around $700 million today. For years, it was widely understood that a significant portion of his income, particularly from pay-per-view revenue, was taken by promoter Don King. A subsequent lawsuit revealed that Mike's contract with King gave the promoter 30% of his earnings, which was technically illegal in Nevada. It was alleged that after mysterious additional fees, Don would reduce 50% of the total amount owed before handing a check to Mike. For example, fees included $100,000 per fight to Don King's wife as a consulting fee. Don King's sons also received $50,000 each as consulting fees for fights. At his peak, Mike paid the president of the Mike Tyson fan club $1,000 a week. The president turned out to be Don King's daughter. At other times, his earnings were seized by creditors such as the IRS. For instance, Tyson was paid $8 million to fight Danny Williams in 2004. Unfortunately, $6 million of that income was seized directly by the IRS, leaving Mike with just $2 million for his efforts. Here's a breakdown of the amounts paid for each of Mike's fights from November 1986 to his last professional fight in 2005. As you can see, his biggest payday by far was the $103 million he earned for fighting Lennox Lewis in 2002. Of that $103 million, about $75 million came from pay-per-view bonuses. In July 2020, Mike and Roy Jones, Jr. announced they were coming out of retirement to face each other in an extremely unusual exhibition fight. Both were reported to have secured a deal with a sponsor who put up $50 million for the fight. Of that $50 million, each fighter could earn up to $10 million if they hit all the pay-per-view milestones. Shortly after the announcement, Mike declared he would donate all of his earnings to charity. His representative later clarified with the following statement: Mike is committed to charitable causes at this stage of his life. Mike is making substantial donations to charities helping people affected economically, medically, and socially by the pandemic. The exact amount will be determined after the fight. Mike Tyson was born Michael Gerard Tyson on June 30, 1966, in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a tough neighborhood, and his stepfather was involved in crime and gambling. When Tyson was 10 years old, he and his mother moved due to financial issues. By age 13, Tyson had been arrested 38 times, often for fighting with older teenagers who mocked his voice. Tyson spoke with a lisp. During his schooling, Tyson's fighting ability was discovered by a juvenile detention trainer and a former boxer. After working with several trainers, he eventually connected with Cus D'Amato, a coach who had a significant impact on the future boxing champion. When Tyson's mother passed away when he was 16, D'Amato became his legal guardian. Tyson also worked with Kevin Rooney from a young age. Tyson's first experience with professional boxing was at the Junior Olympics, where he won gold medals in 1981 and 1982. He also competed in the 1984 Summer Olympics but lost to Henry Tillman in 2 bouts. Tyson's first professional fight took place at age 18, and he defeated Hector Mercedes by TKO in the first round. This started a trend for Tyson, who frequently finished fights in the first round. Tyson continued to fight increasingly tougher opponents, many predicting he would soon become a star. Cus D'Amato died in 1985, and Tyson lost an important father figure early in his career. Many later claimed this would destabilize Tyson's later life. Tyson truly took the world stage with a nationally televised fight against Jesse Ferguson. After Tyson caught Ferguson with an uppercut that broke his nose, the outcome of the fight seemed inevitable. Tyson won after Ferguson was disqualified for illegal holding. Another televised event occurred when Tyson fought Marvis Frazier, a former world title contender. Tyson won in just 30 seconds with a knockout. In 1986, Tyson defeated Trevor Berbick in the second round to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. In 1987, he defended his title against James Smith to become the undisputed world heavyweight champion. That same year, he fought Pinklon Thomas in a 12-round battle to win the IBF title. This made Tyson the first heavyweight fighter to hold all three major belts simultaneously. In 1988, Tyson defeated former champion Larry Holmes, knocking him out in the fourth round. Tony Tubbs met a similar fate that year when he was TKO'd in the second round. Tyson ended the year with a win against Michael Spinks. Although many experts predicted a tough fight for Tyson due to Spinks' technical abilities, Tyson knocked him out in just 90 seconds. From that point on, Tyson's career seemed to decline. After experiencing several personal issues, Tyson decided to fire Kevin Rooney, who had helped Tyson become a top fighter after D'Amato's death. Although Tyson continued to win fights in 1989, his career took a heavy hit when he lost to Buster Douglas in 1990. Douglas, whose mother had died from a stroke 23 days before the fight, fought with passion and determination. In the 10th round, Douglas delivered a combination that put Tyson on the canvas for the first time in his career. He was counted out in one of the most shocking moments in sports history. Tyson continued to win in 1991 before legal troubles halted his career. After being arrested for rape, Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison. During his incarceration, Tyson converted to Islam. Upon his release, Mike Tyson was legally required to register as a sex offender. Tyson's comeback initially succeeded as he knocked out several opponents to regain 2 belts. However, he later lost the WBA title when Holyfield returned from retirement and TKO'd Tyson in the 11th round. Tyson lost again in the rematch when he controversially bit Holyfield twice and was disqualified. Worse yet, Tyson had his boxing license revoked in 1997. In 1999, Tyson returned to professional boxing once again, knocking out Francois Botha but then serving 9 months in prison after being charged with assaulting 2 motorists. Upon returning to boxing from prison once more, he knocked out several boxers consecutively in the first or second round. In 2000, he knocked out Lou Savarese in 38 seconds. Tyson's final professional win was in 2003 when he defeated Clifford Etienne in 49 seconds. After several attempts to return to fighting, injuries, and losses, Mike Tyson retired in 2005. Cus D'Amato taught Mike Tyson the defensive boxing style known as the peekaboo, which emphasizes high alertness and quick head movements. It is also a strong counterpunching style that relies on attacking an opponent, making them turn, and then exploiting openings. Tyson was known for his powerful punches as well as his ability to bob and weave. A significant portion of Tyson's punching power came from his legs, and he was renowned for landing a right hook followed by an uppercut to finish fights. Mike has called Las Vegas home for the past 2 decades. In Vegas, he makes a comfortable living by making personal appearances at parties and corporate events. Mike charges $75,000 for a 2-hour private appearance. Mike has been married 3 times and has 7 children, one of whom has passed away. He includes his second wife's eldest daughter as well as his 6 biological children. He is a practicing Muslim and committed to sobriety. Tyson announced the founding of Mike Tyson's Legends Only League in July 2020. He established the league in collaboration with Sophie Watts and her company, Eros Innovations, to give retired professional athletes the opportunity to compete in their sport. The first event held under the Legends Only League took place in November 2020 with the Tyson/Roy Jones Jr. fight at the Staples Center. This was the top-selling PPV event of 2020 and ranks among the top 10 PPV events of all time. In August 2022, Mike Tyson appeared as a guest star in the Telugu Hindi film Liger. In April 2022, Tyson made headlines when he repeatedly punched a male passenger on a JetBlue flight from San Francisco to Florida after the passenger harassed him and threw water at him. He did not face criminal charges. In 2023, an unnamed woman filed a $5 million lawsuit against Tyson, accusing him of raping her in the early 1990s after she met him at a nightclub in Albany, New York. In 1996, Mike paid $2.8 million for a 51,000 square foot mansion located on a 17-acre property in Farmington, Connecticut. Located at 50 Poplar Hill Drive, the mansion was built in 1985 by a real estate broker who pleaded guilty to fraud a few years later and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. The house was foreclosed on in 1992 and subsequently bought back by the bank in an auction for $3.5 million. The bank lost out in 1993 when the mansion was sold to another buyer in 1993. That buyer sold the house to Mike in 1996 for $2.8 million. Mike spent millions upgrading the property. He added a nightclub capable of holding 1,000 people, an indoor gym, an indoor shooting range, over 100 phone lines, and an NBA regulation basketball court. In 2003, amid his divorce and filing for bankruptcy, the mansion was handed over to ex-wife Monica Turner as part of their settlement agreement. Turner sold the house to rapper 50 Cent in 2003 for $4.1 million. 50 Cent then spent $6 million renovating the property, adding a grotto, infinity pool, home theater, and helipad. 50 Cent listed the house for sale in 2007 for $18.5 million. He reduced the listing price multiple times over the following decade. 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy in July 2015. At that time, he was spending $70,000 a month on utilities and property maintenance. After several years and continued price reductions, 50 Cent sold the property in April 2019 for $2.9 million. In February 2016, Mike paid $2.5 million for a luxurious mansion in Henderson, Nevada. The 1-acre property includes a 10,400 square foot mansion. A month later, he listed his previous home in the Las Vegas area for sale at $1.5 million. At the height of his wealth and power, Mike Tyson indulged in a car collection that at one point included more than 100 vehicles. His collection included a limited edition Bentley Continental SC worth $500,000, one of only 73 such cars produced. He also owned a number of Lamborghinis, Ferraris, a Mercedes-Benz 500, a Range Rover, and a 1995 Rolls-Royce that he later crashed. Tyson left the damaged Rolls-Royce at an auto repair shop and told them to keep it. One of the most significant cars in his collection was a 1996 Ferrari F50. Ferrari only made 349 F50s, with only 55 sent to the United States. Mike Tyson's Ferrari F50 had the chassis number 104220. The production of this model was completed on February 13, 1996. In 2001, 2 years before declaring bankruptcy with $23 million in debt, Mike sold his F50 to a tech entrepreneur named Kevin Marcus. Marcus was the first employee of the pre-Google search engine InfoSpace. The F50 changed hands twice more before being auctioned in August 2022. It was sold at that auction for $4.625 million.